Hello and welcome to episode number 10 of the Terror Cellar. I'm Andy Crofts and it is lovely to be back. I can't believe I've got to episode 10. Who would have known? There's a lot of work that goes into these shows and I'm enjoying it. It's going strong. So thanks again to all of you out there who are following me already with this Terror Cellar podcast. It means the world. Keep spreading the word to like-minded people because, we just want to keep growing and growing. And remember to send in your paranormal, supernatural stories to the Terror Cellar podcast at gmail.com. It's always good to have. Anyway, I hope you had a good Halloween. We were going to do a Halloween special and then I just thought, you know what? It's Halloween every day in the Terror Cellar, okay? There's no point in making a big deal out of something which we do every day anyway, right? So there you go. I've got two great stories for you today, and the first one isn't the usual ghost sort of stories I get. It's something, shall I say, maybe from the stars. So I'll let you be the judge of that. But anyway, it's time to start with the stories. So sit back, turn off the lights, put your headphones on, and get ready for The Visitor. I grew up in a small rural town in Texas where everybody pretty much knew everyone. My family had lived there for generations and it never crossed our minds to move away. I worked at the local bar, a laid-back place where people dress casual and come to relax, drink and dance. I knew all the regulars and they knew me. Then one night, a stranger walked in. He was tall, slim and sharply dressed in a dark suit. I looked so out of place in our little bar that he might as well have landed from another world. He had this flawless pale skin that looked like it had never seen the sun, with striking green eyes and dark hair. As he walked over to the bar and sat down, everyone else in the room seemed to fade into the background. I gave him a nod and said, "How you doing, mister? You're not from around here, are you?" He paused, like he was carefully choosing his words, then finally replied, "No, I'm not." I asked if he wanted a drink, and he ordered water. Now in my bar, we've got beer drinkers, maybe the occasional whiskey sippers, but someone asking for water, I couldn't remember the last time that ever happened. I poured his water, but I kept an eye on him through the mirror behind the bar. He had this quiet intensity that made it hard to break the silence. I asked what brought him to town, and he simply said, "Business." Every word was slow and deliberate, like he was weighing each syllable. As the night wore on, people started trickling out, but he stayed, barely touching his water and just watching the room. When it was down to just the two of us, he looked at me and asked if I'd like to go for a walk after I'd locked up. There was something magnetic about him, even though every logical part of me knew it was a bad idea. But curiosity got the better of me, so I agreed. Outside it was pitch black. No street lights, just the stars shining bright. As we walked, he stopped, gazed up at the sky. "Isn't it beautiful?" he said. I nodded and mentioned I'd love to go to space someday. He chuckled and we sat down on the grass, staring up at the vastness above us. He started talking about the universe, saying it's only as big as we imagine, and hinted there are ways to travel great distances in an instant, but if only we knew how. I started to wonder what he was really getting at. Then he asked me if I believed in life out there, among the stars. I told him I'd be pretty closed-minded not to. After a while, I told him I should head home. He offered to walk me back, and as we strolled, he looked at me, and with a slight grin on his face, "What would you say if I told you I was from the stars?" he asked. I laughed and told him he sounded crazy, but he kept that serious look and told me Earth was in danger and that he was here to warn us. He even mentioned he had a meeting at the White House before he left. I figured it had to be the wildest pickup line I'd ever heard. When we reached my place, he thanked me for the walk, locking his gaze on me with those intense green eyes that seemed to glimmer like diamonds in the sky. "See you in another lifetime," he said. I turned to unlock my door, and when I looked back to say goodbye, he was gone. Just vanished. No footsteps, no sound. It was as if he had never been there at all. The next day at the bar, I asked everyone if they'd seen the man in the suit, but no one had. There was one thing that people did mention though. A strange bright light in the sky the night before, right near where we'd been. Even the news reported it. I still don't know who or what I met that night. A visitor from the stars? I know it sounds crazy, but somehow all the pieces seem to point that way. Thank you, Isabella, for sending in that strange story. I kind of don't know what to say about this, because it almost sounds like a film, something from a film. And this is our first kind of, UFO linked alien thing. And that's an interesting story. I mean, I guess if they did come to our planet, which they have apparently, they would have the access to change their appearance to blend in. Like some people say, they've been walking amongst us for years. The fact that this one, what I'm a bit confused about in this story is the fact that this one felt obliged to talk to you and tell you this information. Maybe he was just stopping by. Maybe he'd just landed and you were the first point of call. I don't know, obviously. I'm just going on the story, but it was a great story anyway. And thank you for sending it in. And now for story number 2, The Mimic Demon. My story is a strange one, and honestly, it still haunts me. I think about it all the time, almost daily, like it's lodged in my memory and refuses to fade. So I was in my late 20s, and after a string of bad relationships, I decided to take a break from dating altogether. I was celibate, just focused on myself and really embracing being alone. I'd never enjoyed my own company so much. I didn't have to explain my actions to anyone, justifying anything. It was freedom. My family lived far away, and the only person who ever really visited was my mum. Sometimes she'd come and stay the night, just for some quality time together. At the time, I had a nice setup. A spacious 3-bedroom apartment and a good job. Life was comfortable and things were positive. No weird vibes and no stress. The apartment was open plan with bedrooms and bathrooms branching off the main living area. One day, my mum was due to visit. She wasn't one for planned activities. She just liked to hang out, watch TV, eat some food and relax. I spent the day tidying up for her, then jumped in the shower to freshen up. She was supposed to arrive around 5 p.m, so I figured I had time. While I was in the shower, I heard the front door open. I froze for a second and then thought, oh, she must be early. Then I heard her voice calling my name. David! David! So I shouted back, hi Mum, I'll be out in a sec. Help yourself to a drink. A couple of minutes went by, and then I heard the handle on the bathroom door start to jiggle, like someone was trying to open it. I yelled out again, just a minute Mum. Then clear as day, I heard her voice calling my name again. David! David! I quickly dried off, threw on some clothes and come out of the bathroom, but she wasn't there. I looked around the apartment and then I saw her. She was sitting on my bed, but with her back to me. And then I heard her voice again. "David? Come here, David." At this point, something felt off. Really off. She didn't turn around. She was just sitting there, stiff, calling my name in this strange, almost monotone way. I said, "Mum, come on out to the kitchen, I'll make you some tea." But she didn't respond. Didn't even move. Then slowly, she stood up and turned halfway. Just enough that I could see half of her face peeking out from behind the bedroom doorway, kind of shielding herself. I asked, "Mum, are you okay?" Still, nothing. She just backed away into the bedroom, and then suddenly, there was this loud knock on the door. I was startled. I walked over, opened the door, and there was my mum, standing outside, looking at me, her suitcase in hand. She gave me this puzzled look like, "Hello? What's going on?" And I just stared at her, confused and honestly a bit freaked out. I stammered, "Are you playing some kind of trick on me, Mum?" She looked at me like I was crazy. "What are you on about?" she said. "I just got here. Can you help me with my bag or not?" I was so unnerved, I finally asked, "So you weren't just inside calling my name a minute ago, right?" She laughed it off, said she had no idea what I was talking about. But I knew what I'd seen and heard. I told her everything, and she brushed it off as my imagination. But it was real. I still wonder, what was it I'd heard and seen? Whatever it was, it didn't feel like my mum. It felt wrong, like it was trying to mess with me, maybe even harm me. And I can't shake off the feeling that if my real mum hadn't knocked at that exact moment, I don't know what might have happened. Thank you, David Blakey, for sending in that freaky little story. Well, that is a classic mimic, isn't it? It's a classic copycat, mimic, demon, as they like to be known as, mimic demons. And yeah, what's odd is, I mean, did it know your mother was coming and then decided to do this? And like you said, you just don't know what might have happened. They've got this dark spirit, dark energy around them, the mimics. And, you know, when you see clips on the internet of people that sharing their experience with things, it tends to be loved ones imitating, you know, that it's that kind of thing. What I'm concerned about is they've known about your mother coming and made the conscious decision to replicate your mother just before she arrives. Do you know what I mean? That's mad. That's mad that they would think like this, and this sort of dark, deceiving energy, you know. But yeah, that's a great story. I'd like to know more about that, to be honest, because all the mimic stuff, it's I've said it before, it's one of them things which has been like a reoccurring nightmare for me throughout my life. I've had lots of dreams about it, and so I want to know more about it. But anyway, yeah, thanks for sending that in, David. Great story. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to episode number 10. And there you have it. Another descent into the shadows, a glimpse into the unknown. A story of familiar faces twisted by the unfamiliar, of voices calling from places we dare not tread. In a world where reality and illusion blur, we're reminded of the thin line between what we trust and what we fear. Here in the Terror Cellar, we invite you to linger in those haunted places, to question what lies just beyond sight and beyond sound, and perhaps just beyond sanity. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your lights low, and remember, not every knock on the door is a welcome guest. Don't have nightmares. Bye-bye.